Why is storytelling important in history? Why is it important at Conner Prairie? It doesn't matter how we were all educated, whether it was through a public school, through a private school, through homeschool. We were all presented history through a book, through a program, through a video. But it seems like all we really get are names, dates, places, people, and events. And there's nothing very personal about that. There's nothing you can connect to. So if you visit a place like Conner Prairie, you end up making that personal connection. You're going to listen to stories that the interpreters tell, but you're also going to be able to make that a part of your own story. The storytellers here at Conner Prairie are amazing. There are people who can tell a story that should be written in a book. There are people who can tell a story that should be videotaped or tape recorded. There are people who tell a story that you want to sit there and hang on every single word that they say in person, because that's where the connection is made. There are storytellers that tell about the Lenape. There are storytellers that tell about being a child and growing up in the 1830s. There are storytellers that will bring your story into their story or help you connect to take it and make it your own story. I was working a Hearthside night, and it's been a few years, but parents came through at the end of the night to say goodbye, and they said, "We don't know if you remember us or not, but we had our son here when he was 10 years old, and he's now 21. And he still talks about you, inviting him to sit down at the loom and weave with him. And every family gathering, he still thinks back on that. So it made such a connection. Something that you think about 10 years later, 11 years later, that he still remembers and holds on to. So often we think of a story having a beginning, a middle, and an end. And sometimes they're very open-ended. A story doesn't have to be something that's written in a book. It can just be a life story, something you've experienced. So those stories that you create, whether it's a long story or a short story, really touches home. You have a better feeling for what life would have been like. You have a better understanding of what people were thinking and realizing there's very little difference. It's just in the dress, it's in the way we cook, it's in what we have versus what we don't have now. Stepping into the story helps to make our history real, helps to make our history connect, and helps to give us a better idea of what has happened in the past than just simply reading a book.